Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:52, and the great Green Day on Bax and Nagle.
Good well, I come around. I'll do the forecast like Billy. What's his name?
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Billy Joe Armstrong. Yeah, it's gonna be mostly cloudy today with a high of 83 tomorrow. Sunny clouds have 77, 63 downtown Springfield.
You sound like your end-of-life conversation with Pee Wee Herman.
Well, it sounds like he's always got something stuck in his throat, doesn't it? Like he's all nasally, like he's got allergies 24 hours a day, 7 days a year.
I think the only thing he's got stuck in his throat is paychecks. Hey, Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
Well, you know, I think we should stop talking about legendary music artists on this show. Because we just had a discussion last week. You just had an interview with somebody related. Didn't you have an interview related to Brian Wilson?
Yeah, David Leaf, who's
right.
like Brian Wilson's biographer. That was the episode I launched on Monday.
Well,
2 days later, now look at us.
Unfortunately, Brian Wilson, Beach Boys founder, has passed away. His family didn't announce the exact date or cause of death, but he was diagnosed with dementia and placed in a conservatorship last year. He was 82. Wilson was considered one of the great pop songwriters of all time. Under his guidance, the Beach Boys' output rivaled that of the Beatles. But Wilson was plagued by drug addiction and mental illness throughout his life. By 1964, he had stopped touring with the band. This led to hiatuses and outright feuds with his bandmates, along with several reconciliations over the years. Wilson is survived by his daughters Carney and Wendy, who found success in the group Wilson Phillips, and 5 adopted children from his second marriage. The Beach Boys issued a statement on their website saying, in part, Brian Wilson wasn't just the heart of the Beach Boys, he was the soul of our sound. I wonder what Mike Love had to say about that.
Knowing Mike Love, he's probably already filed a lawsuit.
Probably.
You know, I mean, you know me. I'm a big fan. Maybe one of those obsessive fans, and I know I'm not the only one out there. This was like, and this has happened, you know, a handful of times throughout my lifetime where it's like a gut punch. Like you really feel this one. I mean,
and I can see that because the contributions this man made to music and the change in the sound of rock and roll as a whole.
You know, I remember like a couple of years ago, we had Cohen in here, and he was trying to convince me that Brian Wilson was not a genius because all he wrote was songs about cars, girls, and surfboards.
Okay, please don't listen to a guy who's got a tattoo of Cape Cod and a martini glass on his arm and gets sports scores wrong almost every day.
Believe you me, I considered the source, but he also didn't consider the realities of it's 1966.
Yeah.
And Brian Wilson puts together good vibrations in a way that no one has ever recorded a song before in history with limited technology at his disposal and comes up with a song like that. That song should have been impossible to record in 1966 the way he did it. And it was like that over and over and over again. I mean, the level of genius when every other in the book with David Leaf, there's the first section are all of these incredibly legendary musical geniuses saying, "Oh my God, what a genius that guy is!"
Yeah.
I mean, everyone from Elton John to Paul McCartney to Elvis Costello is like one after another, just saying, "You folks don't understand the level of genius." This is like otherworldly type of genius. Like if he had been born 500 years earlier, he'd be in the same conversation as a Beethoven or a Bach, and that's a fact.
Well, you have to finish on the Bach, but you have to start with Debussy.
I'm a big fan of Debussy.
Yeah. Did you ever finish with Debussy, or do you finish on the Bach?
I find that as soon as I'm done with the Bach, I immediately gravitate to Debussy.
Oh, no. Always finish on the Bach. Never finish on Debussy.
Sometimes I find myself unable to contain myself. So I automatically go for the Bootsy.
I can't believe people actually listen to this show and enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. It stuns me, too.
Brian's daughter, Carney, posted a statement on Instagram saying, quote, he couldn't hold on for one more day.
You know, it's weird. So I saw it. Yesterday was kind of like a blur. So I saw that Instagram post from the family.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is this true? Because you know how many fake Instagram accounts do you see? So I'm refreshing my browser over and over again for a good 15 minutes until all of a sudden the stories come out that it is in fact true.
Yeah.
It was and I'm sitting there going, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it's again, one of those gut punches. And I would say it's happened a number of times. John Lennon would be one, David Bowie another. Believe it or not, Ray Charles hit me pretty hard too.
Really?
Totally hit me hard. And then yesterday. And Sly Stone too was really bummed out about this, but this one a little different for me.
We got to stop talking about these musicians. I said Sly Stallone.
Yeah.
And then the universe misheard me, took the wrong guy out.
And I had been mentioning Don Henley's name for a good month and a half.
Yeah.
And nothing.
I don't know of any other Wilsons, though. I didn't... Wilson. I said Wilson Pickett.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while, too.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of another Wilson name that I could put out there. Yeah, would you say Don Henley?
Yeah, Don Henley.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not,
Well,
I'm not trying to enter and put anything out in the universe. I'm just saying.
I think we did mention him last week in some reference to cocaine and
teenage girls.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
And yet, he's still among us.
Well, you never know. You never know the weekend. Because it comes in threes, right? So who's the third one this week?
There was some soap opera guy that died. And I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. You're talking about legendary musicians. You get Sly Stone,
Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson, and hopefully it's not somebody else.
We will see.
Paul McCartney's getting up there.
He's also 82.
Yeah. Miley Cyrus has revealed that she lost a lot during her wild years when she was trying to make a clean break from the Hannah Montana era. One of the things she lost was the lead role in the animated kids movie Hotel Transylvania, and what caused her to lose it was a penis cake she got for her then-boyfriend Liam Hemsworth. She says, quote, they fired me and replaced me because I had made an inappropriate adult joke. And then Selena Gomez got the role.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that ridiculous?
And Selena Gomez is perfectly capable of telling a D joke like anybody else.
I think she does tell D jokes like everybody else.
I believe she does.
Kim Kardashian makes waves in see-through underwear during a steamy Bahamas shoot.
Really?
Skims and Nike, or just another wet dream is the headline.
She must have something to say.
Oh my God! The last time my cheeks were that soaked, Ray J was flossing my slop tunnel with his man rope like he was trying to win a game of Double Dare in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
Well, I never got that down and dirty with her mother, Chris Kim, but one girl's trip, we found her old VHS stash and got real nostalgic. First up was the medieval epic where the knights came, saw, and conquered. Game of Moans, Winter is Coming. Then we watched the sports underdog story where she takes more balls to the face than a rookie goalie, Hoop Dreams and Creams.
What else did you watch?
And finally, we fell asleep to the aquatic love story about a lonely mermaid with a sailor with a blowhole fetish, the Little Spermaid. That Disney really puts out some good stuff.
It really, truly does.
And that is your Hollywood trash on Rock 102. Ah!
Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, your grilling destination. Weber, Big Green Egg, Uni Pizza Ovens, and Traeger wood-fired grills.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, if I had a dime for every time one of my parents told me that they were starving children in Ethiopia, I'd have enough money to feed an entire village of starving children in Ethiopia. If I believed my parents every time they threatened to give me something to really cry about, I'd be crying all the time. And don't get me started on how many times they threatened to call Santa Claus because I was acting up. The truth is, none of those things wound up happening, and with all those empty threats and false promises, it occurred to me that my parents may have been full of it. This is the same family conundrum facing Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins this week as he tried to defend a web of deceit and lies allegedly told to him by his own father. Last week, you may recall the quote from Hunter Dobbins that claimed that he would rather retire than pitch for the New York Yankees. Now, I can respect that sort of position. However, Dobbins doubled down on that story, claiming that his father, Lloyd Dobbins, had been drafted by the New York Yankees not once but twice before being traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Also claimed his father was good friends with former Yankee pitcher Andy Pettitte. There's just one small problem. Apparently, none of it is true. In fact, there's absolutely no record of Lloyd Dobbins ever being drafted by the Yankees. He did apparently pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks for 2 unspectacular seasons, but after that, the story's full of crap. In defending his father's story, Hunter told reporters yesterday, quote, "I don't go fact-checking my father or anything like that." Of course you don't, kid. Who does? I'm sure my father told me all kinds of things that weren't true. Things like, "You're never going to graduate high school with grades like this," or the one where he told me he used to walk 6 miles to school in the snow, when I knew for a fact he took the bus. On the other hand, if my father had been drafted by the Yankees, I wouldn't be telling anybody that information, even if it was true, because the last thing I'd want to do would be to bring more shame to my family. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Take Dad power tool shopping at Rocky's. Get Dad a $50 Rocky's gift card. Comes with a free $10 Rocky's Ace gift card for you. A little side deal for the Ace Rewards member. You remember, aren't you? You got to nab this 50 plus 10 deal right away at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:14 and Blue Oyster Cult, Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a mix of sun and clouds. Nice day today, sunny and a high of 83. And then tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 77. It's 63 in downtown Springfield. It was actually really nice yesterday. Yesterday it turned out to be a really nice day.
Yeah, and weren't they saying it was going to be like rainy and stuff?
Well, it looked like it was going to rain at some point, and then that ended, and it came out the other way. So,
yeah, no, it wanted to be a fine day.
Mm-hmm. What was I going to say? I don't even remember. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. I had something I was going to talk about. No, I don't remember it. It's like I'm getting old, man.
Dude, you don't even know what getting old feels like.
Oh, I know what it feels like.
You want to feel old?
Yeah.
My youngest daughter turns 21 years old today.
Oh, why did you do that to me?
See, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this is going to be such a hard day for you.
It's going to be a very hard day for me now.
I mean, you know how it is. I mean, your kids. See, I've seen your kids like within like the last 5 months, maybe 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And they're growing up to be young women.
Yeah.
But yet, in my mind, your kids are still 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah.
And, that's what I hold on to. But, selfishly, they're not my kids. I look at my kids, and it's like a slow progression into adulthood. They're all adults.
Well,
and now, even as she turns 21, I feel like Methuselah, who's been around for 800 years.
Well, I can see how that happens for you. It's weird because when you're living the moment, you don't really listen to everybody when they say you're going to miss that part when they're little, and then they become teenagers and they're like, yeah, now I missed that.
I kind of missed that part
where they were little, and then same thing when they become adults. I'm sure like I missed it when they were going through that whole whole coming of age thing.
Like sometimes when you're out in public,
yeah.
And if you don't have kids, you probably can't relate to this. But if you do have kids, you totally do relate to this. When you're seeing like another parent and their kid is having a meltdown. Mm-hmm. Like in public, like in at a store or whatever, grocery store. Kids having a meltdown, screaming, yelling, all kinds of stuff. There's a part of me that says, I'm glad I'm not in that position, but I kind of miss those moments.
Well, I don't, I think way before I had kids, I was one of those judgy people who would be like, oh, God, shut that kid up. And then now having been through that, I get it. I totally get it. And the level of embarrassment that you feel when you're dealing with that, I think I told you one time, and I don't even know who this guy was, but talk about me wanting to punch somebody right in the face to keep them quiet. This was years ago. My kids were probably 3 and 2 years old.
Right.
And my youngest starts having this temper tantrum. We were in the Walmart in Westfield. And my 2-year-old wants like gum or candy, I don't know, whatever it was. And I just said, no, we're not doing that today. We're just here for this and we're leaving. We're not getting any candy or gum or anything like that. Well, that turned into like a full-on, like one of those on the ground wailing type of tantrums that a lot of kids go through. But when you're the one that's standing there, you look at everybody else and go, everybody thinks I must be like the worst person in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
But the people who are parents are going, been there, done that. You know, you're getting judged by the people who've never had children before, have never had any kind of meltdown. So I wind up taking my daughter out under my arm, like it was one of like it was a suitcase, Why? And she's wailing, because she wanted the candy, and you have to set limits. You're like, I'm not buying that. I'm not giving in just to make you stop this. Because
once you do that, then you set a horrible precedent where you're buying them candy everywhere you go.
And then some guy like recognizes me and out in the parking lot and basically follows me to my car while my child is on a full-on tantrum. And he's like, hey, I listen to the show every day, man. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, appreciate, whatever. And then as I'm trying to put my child into the car seat, she's doing this. She's old enough now to know how to undo the buckle from the car seat. And keep every time I buckle it, she's unbuckling it. Theater of the absurd, type of stuff.
But I relate to it. Sure.
This guy is like, is John O'Brien really like that in real life? And I said, no, he's actually just like this. But it's just like, and I finally said, listen, I'm dealing with something here. I appreciate that you enjoy the show, but that's it. That's the entertainment portion of my life. This is the tragedy portion of my life.
I know you're caught up in the moment of having a locally recognizable celebrity within feet of you, but I'm kind of in the middle of something right here.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like there's a time and a place to say hi to somebody. I'm very approachable for the most part.
Yeah, right.
I always look like I'm going to kick somebody's ass. But I'm really not.
No, you're a big softie.
But when you see somebody in a situation like that, you don't do. I remember what was the guy years ago? I was a teenager and I saw the guy. He was the sports guy on 22. It wasn't Teddimer. It was
Pardowarski?
No.
Rulier?
No.
Bob Rumbold?
I don't know. But I recognized him. I saw him in the Holyoke Mall. And I almost went to go see
Morgan Hook.
No. And I almost went to go see. He kind of looked like Teddimer a little bit. He had the curly hair, too.
Okay.
Anyway, I see this guy. He's got like a newborn. The thing's like screaming. I wanted to go say hi to him, and I'm like, you know what? It looks like, even at that age, I'm like, it looks like he's got something going on right there.
I've always thought it was kind of funny when you have someone say, can't they shut that kid up?
Yeah.
And he's just standing there not doing nothing? Does he not notice his kid? No, believe me, trust me. Dad and mom are fully aware of what's going on. What you're looking at right now is a moment of panic.
Yeah.
Like exasperation, like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parents know. They see it.
And
they see it faster than you see it.
And when you watch it, when you're dealing with that, it makes you be like, oh, man. But you know what? It builds your character.
Totally builds your character.
To deal with people, and prepared me for a life to deal with salespeople at Rock 102.
because they're in the infantile stage, too.
Why don't you do this for me? Don't worry, they're not listening.
They're not. They never do.
Yeah.
It's 6:23 on Rock 102. Still on Rock 102.
Liam Neeson has the forecast, and he will give it to you.
Yes, he will certainly give it to you. Hey, this week on Baxy's Musical Podcast, the irony of this is not lost on anybody, but my guest has been David Leaf, the biographer for Brian Wilson. His latest book, Smile, The Rise, Fall, and Resurrection of Brian Wilson, talks about the album Smile, what happened to it. It went on a shelf for 37 years, and in 2004, Brian not only finished it, but performed it live in London. This is all the story of the entire record before and after. It is one of the most amazing stories ever. And again, with Brian Wilson dying yesterday, or the announcement of his death yesterday, it's even more poignant that David Leaf was my guest. Again, you can hear it on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, and on rock102.com. It's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
All right, you ready to laugh?
I'm ready to laugh.
All right.
I could use a laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
It's kind of a long one. Are you ready?
Let her rip.
A Tibetan man, an Indian man, a German man, and a Maltese man die and go to purgatory. And to pass the time, they begin discussing how they died. The Tibetan man says, I was driving a truck in San Juan, and as I'm driving, I see a man just standing in the middle of the road eating a box of chicken satay. Is that how you say it? Satay?
Sure.
And as the Tibetan, I'm forbidden to kill any living creature, so I swerved into the other lane and a motorbike crashes into me. The bike gets stuck in my wheels and I can't turn, and I crash right into a gas station, ignite a puddle of gasoline on the floor, and the entire thing explodes.
Wow.
The Indian guy says, that's such a coincidence. I was in San Juan delivering chicken satay on Bolt Food. That's like their delivery thing. But when I got to the customer, I realized my bag was unzipped and the chicken satay must have fallen out in the road. And as an Indian, I'm very hardworking, so I drove back to find the chicken satay. And as I'm driving, I see a man standing in the middle of the road eating the chicken satay. And I'm so distracted that I get hit by a truck. I get stuck under the wheels. The truck crashes into a gas station, ignites a puddle of gasoline on the floor, and the entire thing explodes. And then the German guy says, that's so crazy. I was in San Juan at a gas station, and there was a big puddle of gasoline on the ground. And as a German, I can't stand a mess on the floor, so I get a towel to mop up the gasoline, but I see a man standing in the middle of the road eating a box of chicken satay. And I'm so confused that I forget about the puddle. Suddenly, this huge truck crashes into the gas station, ignites the puddle of gasoline, and the entire thing explodes. Now, the Maltese guy has been quiet this whole time, and he doesn't seem to be listening to anyone's stories. And so they ask him, well, how did you die? And the Maltese guy says, well, it was very strange. I was crossing the road in San Juan, and I see a takeout box on the ground, and I open it up, and it's full of chicken satay. So I began eating the chicken satay, and all of a sudden, a truck whizzes past me, hits a motorbike. The motorbike gets stuck in the wheels. The truck crashes into a gas station, ignites a puddle of gasoline, and the entire thing explodes. And one of the other guys goes, well, how did you die? And he goes, I'm allergic to peanuts. Because chicken satay has peanuts in it. And he's allergic to peanuts, and that's how he died.
See, that's a great joke.
Well, it was long, but it was worth it. Totally worth it.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
6:35 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Gary Rome Hyundai. Technicians get up to a $5,000 sign-in bonus right now. Learn more at GaryRomeHyundai.com/family. Is local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. A Springfield woman who allegedly hit and seriously injured a state trooper on the Mass Pike in Chicopee was in court yesterday. On Tuesday, shortly after 2:20 a.m., a vehicle hit and seriously injured a trooper who was conducting a traffic stop of a tractor-trailer on the westbound side of the Mass Pike near exit 51. The driver, who did not stop after hitting the trooper, was found in the area and was arrested. Their identity has not been released at this time. The trooper, she went for the arraignment. They have video of that. They don't know her name.
Don't they usually announce your name when you're being arraigned? Isn't that like part of the process?
Yeah.
They don't normally say Jane Doe over here. This lady.
The trooper was taken to Bay State Medical Center for serious injuries. During a news conference on Tuesday afternoon, State Police Colonel Noble said that the trooper, whose name has not been made public, has been with the state police for less than a year. However, he's been in law enforcement for nearly 10 years. Colonel Noble emphasized the importance of drivers to obey the Move Over law. That law went into effect in March of 2009. If you see flashing lights of an emergency vehicle or towing a truck a towing truck near the side of the road, slow down, move over into the next lane if you can, or just slow down. If you can't move over, because sometimes the traffic doesn't allow you to move over.
Right, just slow down and pay attention. That's like the biggest thing. If you can't move over, at least pay attention to what the hell's going on.
I see a lot of people not paying attention on the road.
Oh, it's all the time, all the time. And when I see it, I get so mad. I just want to throw my phone down on the floor and start swearing. But I'm too busy playing Candy Crush. I can't spend enough time doing that.
Yeah, this candy ain't going to crush itself here, pal.
Listen, don't make me stop watching these TikToks while I drive.
An Amherst man was arrested on Monday in connection with violent messages made towards a Tennessee police officer, including threats to commit a mass stabbing at a local Big Y. Charging documents stated that on April 6, an officer with Metro Nashville Police allegedly received threatening messages on Instagram from an account later identified as Luke Brissy of Amherst. Brissy allegedly sent the officer several violent messages saying, "I hope when you get this message, you'll already be dead, and I will put a bomb in your police car, and you better yet in your house. Maybe I'll just shoot you." See, that might not be the best thing to write.
Yeah, because you see, the things you write are documented.
He also threatened to bomb an FBI building, kill the officer's co-worker, and commit a mass stabbing at a local Big Y. Well, that's kind of random.
Why does it sound like this guy's got some anger control issues?
He does. The officer contacted Nashville's security threat section after receiving those threats, who then notified the FBI in Nashville. An emergency disclosure request was submitted to Meta Platforms, Inc. to confirm that Brissy was the user of the account. The charging document stated further that the FBI in Boston was contacted to locate and interview Brissy. Law enforcement found Brissy as residence in Amherst, and he admitted to contacting the officers. He went on to say that he planned to lure the officer to Massachusetts to complete the actions he outlined in his threatening messages. Brissy told the FBI Boston agents that he had planned to bomb the FBI Boston field office and was intending to commit a mass stabbing at a local Big Y the morning the agents came home. Police received a warrant for Brissy's arrest on April 10th, and he was arrested this past Monday in Belchertown and charged with communicating a threat in interstate commerce. He's scheduled for a detention hearing on June 16th in U.S. District Court in Springfield. That's just... You're going to Nashville, the FBI,
yep,
and then your local Big Y.
Well, I mean,
it just seems like a random thing to mention.
It is a little random.
Yeah.
And it is a little violent. But I can't believe all they could do is give him detention.
Well, that's all they can do. You're staying after school today.
You'll be taking the late bus home.
You'll be in room 205. That was the one in our school, was room 205. I got sent to room 205 quite often when I was in middle school.
See, we usually, detention was either in a particular classroom, like the teacher that gave you the detention, you sit with the teacher, or you had office detention.
Yeah.
And office detention only happened to the bad kids. And you know why?
Why?
You know what happened? At the end of every school day, they would announce all the kids that had office detention.
Oh,
and it was always like the same 10 kids.
It was like the scarlet letter. Everybody knew who you were.
Everyone knew who you
were. You were the detention whore.
They all knew you weren't going to be on the bus that day. And again, it was always like the same 7 to 10 kids.
Yeah.
And it was never me. I never got an office detention.
We had, like I was saying, the room number was 205. And everybody knew that all the teacher had to say, it became synonymous with being a bad kid.
Yes.
Go to room 205. And then you'd sit there, and there would be this old lady who was, just finishing up a couple of menthols outside. and then having to sit with these kids in silence in this classroom that had nothing on the wall. It was like one of those
real antiseptic, dank type of places.
And you had to be quiet and do some work.
There's probably kids in prison right now with a big Room 205 tattoo.
Yeah,
like a prison tattoo on their chest.
Yeah.
And they got on the wrong side of the tracks. They spent so much time in Room 202.
Yeah, that's what happens.
What happened? Bad kids.
But room 205. That was
205. I take it back.
That was the bad room.
Wow.
I once got sent there for telling the English teacher, or saying to the English teacher, walking down the hallway. He looked like Jim Croce. He had one of those mustaches, and almost like a Raleigh Fingers type of thing, but not curly like that. But just
real big.
He looked almost exactly like a mix between Raleigh Fingers and Jim Croce, like if they had a baby together.
Right.
This guy would be
like he could close out a game in the ninth inning, but you wouldn't want to get on a plane with him.
And he's walking down the street. Yeah, right. Right. You don't want to. Yeah. And he's walking down the street. That was a very dark joke, Bax. He's walking down the hallway, and I'm like, hey, his name was Mr. Card. Right?
Mr. Card.
And I was like, Mr. Card, how's it hanging? And I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
And then he stopped me in the hallway and told me that was completely inappropriate. And I should be going to room 205 and don't ever say anything like that to him ever again.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, 13 years old. I was like, I didn't even know what that meant yet, because there was nothing hanging at that point in my life.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
but were you saying the same thing to female teachers too?
No, I'm 46. It's still not hanging that way.
It's just kind of lying there, flaccid.
No. I thought it was like one of those greetings that you say to somebody.
Yeah, it is a greeting, but there's also
but
meaning
I didn't realize
attached to the greeting.
I didn't realize it was meaning that your ding dong was doing the pendulum action down below. If it was hanging to the left or hanging to the right.
What can I say, man? That's the way it goes.
Well.
And yet you went to room 205.
Yeah. If I could put time in a bottle, I'd go back and.
Just wouldn't get on the plane.
Not say that again. Blue attraction signs along Massachusetts highways potentially inform tourists and those unfamiliar with the city's offerings. However, some in Springfield area appear to be blank billboards. Have you seen these?
No.
A Western Mass resident contacted 22 News, and they went to the Report It site.
Right.
And said the signs on I-91 Springfield labeled attractions at exit 5A and exit 3 have been blank for many years. The signs appear to be worn out and possibly deter people from visiting. Exit 3 for I-91 is Route 5 and Route 57 Junction. Exit 5A is downtown Springfield, Union Street, and MGM Way.
It's our way of saying there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, it's you know what I'm talking about. It's when you're driving down and they say what restaurants, what hotels.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right.
I thought it was like an electronic billboard.
Yeah, but now that you're describing it, then yes, I have seen those.
So 22 News contacted Mass DOT, which is responsible for those signs, and was told there are certain requirements and that businesses must meet to be listed on those signs.
Including paying the state to be put on the sign.
I was going to say, it ain't free. It's the business, such as gas, food, lodging, tourist center, or college or university, that is responsible for requesting a logo on the highway signs. Applications can be found on the state's website to request a highway logo sign. Certain criteria must be complied with, including being within 3 miles of the sign and paying an annual fee of $1,200. $1,200 a year to be on the sign. We should do that. But we're farther than 3 miles away from the highway, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, an interstate highway. I mean, when I talk about like a small county trunk, then maybe it's different.
Yeah, but these are only on I-9. These are only on interstate highways. They're not on like 83, like the state highway.
Yeah, I get that, but still,
attractions. Rock 102.
We're not really an attraction. This is not a building that I would invite people to come see.
Well, listen, I mean, if you bring food here to the radio stations, it's very much like a petting zoo. I'll eat a good bagel right out of your hand.
Yeah, no, I would do that too,
yeah.
depending on the cleanliness of your hands.
A Rice's Farm muffin top. I've been known to eat that right off the floor.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you could put it on a closed toilet seat. I'll eat it. Closed.
All right, closed. But yeah, we could have an attraction here.
Well, let's start right away. I mean, it's only 6:46, and the parking lot's pretty much free. Just my car, your car.
Well, I always see the one when I'm down in Connecticut, the old Newgate Prison.
Yes.
You know, you can go visit the old closed prison down there. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is kind of like a death trap in here too. With come see the moldy basement.
Come see the most health hazard
Yeah.
building in all of radio.
Yeah, you never know. We could turn this into a money making venture. That's for sure.
By the way, I just cleared my throat, not because I had phlegm in there, just trying to get the mold out of it.
You just wanted to. Let me clear my throat. Your Pioneer Valley forecast. By the way, we got to do 90s Pop Week this week. Since we did it yesterday. Yeah. I believe today would be either 98 degrees.
Oh, Jesus.
Or, as it was suggested yesterday, O-Town.
Who suggested O-Town?
Several people actually suggested
really?
O-Town. Yeah.
More than one?
More than one.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding you. Reminds me of my New England love songs days.
I'm sure it does.
You ever been to O-Town, Baxy?
I have not been to O-Town.
Well, you should. Let me take you there.
Unless you're considering Orange O-Town.
Yeah, Orange is O-Town. That's right next to Athol. Did you ever get the O in the app?
No, yeah. I have not.
Nice day today. Sunny and a high of 83. It's 65 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
It's 6:51 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
I just gave you the forecast. It's going to be nice today.
Well, let me give you this information. Rock 102 presents the Classic Rock Summer now through Labor Day weekend. Listen to Rock 102 all summer long for details on how to grab your share of the big fat stack of summer prizes, including the $25 gift card to Store and Tavern every weekday through Labor Day. If you want to win, you go to rock102.com. You listen to Pat Kelly every weekday afternoon, and maybe you could be a winner. The Rock 102 Classic Rock Summer, brought to you by the Leah Auto Group and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
The worst part is you got to listen to Pat Kelly, but the payoff is worth it.
His show is almost worth a $25 gift card to anything, but Store it's a good choice.
It's $1 for every minute his intro is.
Yes. So in a way, I mean, you kind of are getting what you paid for.
It is a fan favorite, though. You know, I don't know what it takes to have your Sam's Club membership revoked. Do we even have a Sam's Club around here?
No.
Which BJ's are they the same?
It's the same. They're not the same company. It's the same kind of deal.
Well, Sam's is Walmart, right?
It's the Walmart version of a membership club. Yeah.
Well, but this would get your membership revoked. A 70-year-old man in Florida is facing charges for allegedly urinating on hundreds of cans of Spam at a Sam's Club near Orlando. His name is Patrick Mitchell. It happened on May 30th, and he pleaded not guilty in court this week. Police say he was at a Sam's Club in Lady Lake, Florida. Lady Lake.
Fit up on my big breast, baby.
When he stopped to urinate on 2 pallets of canned goods. We should sing that one, too.
That's a good one, too.
2 pallets of canned goods, a pallet of Spam, and a big stack of Vienna sausages. You were just talking about Vienna sausages last week.
Yeah, we were.
After he zipped up, he wandered around the snack section for a while, sat down on some patio furniture for about 10 minutes, then paid for everything in his cart and left. Well, at least he paid for the items. It wasn't like he was shoplifting.
True, but there is bathroom facilities in a Sam's Club.
They ID'd him using his info from his Sam's Club card. Oh, man.
It's too bad because he left all that DNA evidence behind.
Right, and arrested him at his home in the Villages. He's facing charges for disorderly conduct and criminal mischief. The second one's a felony because he damaged over $1,000 worth of merchandise. How do you... It's in a can. You wash it off. I'm sure it's perfectly good.
Yeah, but who's going to want to take that little key after it's been whizzed all over and open up the can?
This is why somebody couldn't believe that I had to wash all the dishes and still throw them away. That my dad had urinated in the dishwasher. It's just a mental thing.
Psychologically,
you can't do it. Well, think about all the things in canned goods that happen. When these things are in warehouses, you got mice crapping on them, rats crapping on all that stuff.
You don't know what you're getting.
Know what you're getting. This is why you need to wash the can off before you even open it. Have you ever washed the can off before you open it?
I've washed my own can, but I've not washed a can.
You don't wipe the can off at least on the top before you stick the can opener in it?
You're going to find this hard to imagine, Steve, but I guess I have just too much trust in the local grocery chains to even think about doing that. I don't eat a lot of canned food, but
okay, but what about like a drink? If you have a soda water or something like that, don't you wipe the top off before you start drinking out of the top of it?
No, I just lick the lid.
You don't know where that lid's been.
The guy that made the lid didn't know where my tongue's been.
Anyway, the store had to throw out everything on these pallets, over 3,300 cans of Vienna sausages and 2,700 cans of Spam. The combined value was $10,000. Did you ever notice how much a can of Spam cost? It's very expensive.
Believe it or not, I have not been in the market for a can of Spam in an awful long time.
I haven't eaten Spam since I was probably a teenager, but I've noticed when I was walking by the cans that it was very expensive. So expensive that they were in that one Walmart, they were putting it inside the security box. You know,
like an Axe body spray. Like, you don't want people to rip off the shelves of the Spam. How much are cans of Spam?
I don't know. Let me see. Let's see. Price of Spam. We'll just have to do that.
I know the whole tariff situation's got everybody flummoxed with prices.
Where are you getting Spam from? $3.88 for a little 1 ounce can. That's a lot.
But if you buy like a can of tuna, depending on where you're going, it could cost you almost that much.
Spam singles for $1.25.
How lazy do you have to be unable to slice your own Spam?
Well, if you don't like the gel, when you open up the can,
I'm sure the slices still come with the gel. Yeah. It's what keeps those things fresh forever.
That means two things.
Yes.
The slices come with the gel.
I love the fact, because I'm looking at the images of Spam online. I love Spam Light. You know, when you're really concerned about your waistline.
Yeah.
You're going to the Spam.
I always find that kind of amusing when you have something that's so fatty and so full of sodium and everything else that will kill you if you had way too much of it in one sitting.
Well, they also have a low sodium Spam, 25% less sodium. 300% more sodium than anything else you'll eat today.
What's the how much? Let me see. All right, let's see. Spam nutrition. Spam nutrition facts. Let's see what we got going on here.
Yes.
In 2 ounces, it's 180 calories.
Okay.
16 grams of fat, 6 grams of saturated fat included in that, 40 milligrams of cholesterol.
Again, you're talking about 2 slices here.
790 milligrams of sodium.
It's a freaking salt lick.
But only 1 gram of carbohydrates and 7 grams of protein. So that's where you balance yourself. That's your net carbs. You got to get your net carbs in. It's good for the Atkins diet.
It's 6:58 at Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, your grilling destination. Weber, Big Green Egg, Uni Pizza Ovens, and Traeger wood-fired grills.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, I don't care how bad things might get in my legendary broadcasting career. Even if Rock 102 were to lose their ever-loving minds, there are certain things that I would not do and certain places that I will not go. And while I refuse to mention any of these large companies by name, I think they know who I'm talking about. Having said that, the reason for my staunch position is that having witnessed so many of their horrible decisions, I'm not so sure that I'm willing to be the next one. Same holds true in professional sports. For example, when the New York Knicks fired head coach Tom Thibodeau 9 days ago, it alerted people around the NBA that perhaps the New York Knicks are being run by very stupid people. Thibodeau, as you may know, was the first head coach to lead the Knicks to their first conference finals in 25 years, and yet he was fired because they failed to win. So, who are the Knicks looking to replace him with? Everybody. Who are they talking to? Who's talking about him about it? Nobody. In the last 9 days, the Knicks have requested to speak to 5 different current NBA head coaches, and in every case, their requests have been denied. So far, they've asked to speak with Atlanta Hawks head coach Quinn Snyder, Jason Kidd in Dallas, Billy Donovan in Chicago, and Chris Finch in Minnesota. They even spoke to the Houston Rockets about talking to former Celtics head coach Ime Udoka, but again, they were told no. Now, the Knicks have also contacted several other potential prospects about the position, and so far, no one has been desperate enough to show even the slightest bit of interest. Because you see, if you're willing to fire a guy for having the audacity for bringing your lousy basketball team to 3 straight playoff appearances for the first time in more than a quarter century, then perhaps the problem isn't with the coach. Perhaps it has everything to do with the guys who hired him and then fired him. In other words, perhaps it has more to do with the Knicks being stupid. And if that's true, I wouldn't take that job either. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. What's the difference between a hammer drill driver and an impact driver? Well, you need to talk to Robbie at the East Longmeadow Rockies. Good people, rock-solid service, and a power tool specialist like Robbie at every Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Classic rock at 7:13 and Aerosmith with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a nice day today. Sunny and a high of 83. Tomorrow, more mix of sun and clouds with a high of 78. It is 67 right now in downtown Springfield. But rain all weekend, so
Come on.
we don't need any nice weather on the weekend.
You got to make the most of a good, beautiful Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. Father's Day being Sunday. People are like, what do you want? I was looking, I was in my garage yesterday trying to do something productive.
You're right.
And I have this sign in there that my kids got. My kids buy me a lot of stuff from like thrift shops and stuff when for gifts.
Sure.
It's very cheap. Cheap way to honor Dad. And I always appreciate the thing. I saw the sign in there the other day that I hung up from a couple of years ago from Father's Day. It says, an old grumpy bastard lives here. Right? But this emphasis on buying Dad something. Like, I always thought that was just kind of like, what's the point? Wouldn't you rather make him something or buy? I mean, buying something like expensive,
Right?
Or even another necktie, or something that he doesn't really need.
Well, I've always been a big believer, and I told my kids this many years ago, that when it comes to like Father's Day, the only present I really need, the only gift they can give me that I'd be totally satisfied with, would be the gift of their time.
Really?
Spend time with the old man. That would be okay. I'd be very happy with just some time. That's it.
Some time?
That's it. I'm not asking for much. I don't need that much. I don't need more things. That's the last thing that I need is more things.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Maybe a nap, perhaps.
A nap would be good. I'd be very happy with a nap.
Leave me alone for an hour.
If you could only get that from your kids.
These are things that you don't need to go out. You don't need to go out and spend money on Dad.
No, Dad doesn't need stuff.
Do you find that day to be? Oh, it's Father's Day. It's my day. Because I don't see it that way.
No,
I could care less about it being Father's Day.
I don't remember what comedian it was, but there was one, and it showed up like on some video on YouTube or something like that. The guy said, Father's Day is just about the worst holiday there is. He said there was like recently an article that listed America's favorite holidays.
Yeah.
And Father's Day came in number 14th.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's Christmas, there's Thanksgiving, there's Mother's Day. And the whole point of the joke is I didn't realize that there were 11 other holidays that people celebrated before they got to Father's Day. It's like the afterthought of holidays. Oh, we got Mother's Day? And I suppose we got to do something for the old man, too.
See, all my dad wanted to do was get drunk on Father's Day.
Yeah, but you'd have to wait on a Sunday for that to happen.
But that was every day.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
He celebrated all the time.
But I'm looking up some of these famous bad dads. Joe Jackson.
Not the singer.
Not the is she really going out with him singer.
But Joe Jackson, the patriarch of the Jackson family.
Yeah. Although I don't know, Steppin' Out was a great tune. So
it really was.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, but I don't believe that's the same guy.
No, but Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's father, not too good of a dad. Bing Crosby. I couldn't believe the things that I heard about this guy because we used to play his records all the time. Every Christmas, my dad would throw on the Bing Crosby Christmas album.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that Bing Crosby Christmas special. The one where he sang with David Bowie.
Yeah,
thinking, wow, what a kindly old man to allow David Bowie into his house. Little did I know that after David left, he went to the other room to beat the living snot out of his kids.
David Hasselhoff.
All right, one bad day when he was very hungry with the Burger King.
Wait, but I think now that he's sobered up, he might have regrets and maybe hopefully he's making amends with his children.
Yeah.
But to put them through what he did, that was they took that video to show him that video,
and that's what did it for him. And that was his bottom,
and that's what kind of turned out.
He was so drunk during his career that he used to talk to a car, and the car would talk back to him.
Did the car sound like the guy from St. Elsewhere, who later became Mr. Feeney on Boy Meets World?
Well, now that you mention it, Steve, yes, apparently, very much so.
Oh, that's weird. Let's see.
You're going to be really drunk to have a conversation with your car.
Marvin Gaye Sr. He was a bad dad.
All right. Okay, yes, he may have shot Marvin Jr. dead, but, that situation had escalated.
Genghis Khan.
I don't really know enough about the Khan family.
Well, he died in 1162. I don't remember that year. I only remember, maybe...
I don't even think they had Father's Day in 1162.
Joseph Stalin. I guess he was a bad dad, too. Henry VIII. Yeah, I could see that being a bad dad.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Was he the one that killed the children? Was it?
No, he killed his wives because they weren't providing him with a son.
That's what it was.
He was, as they say, without meaning to sound uncouth, dude was shooting pink bullets.
Yeah. Michael Lohan.
Michael Lohan seems like a little bit of a dirtbag.
Several historical and contemporary figures are known for being poor fathers, including Emperor Constantine. Oh, yeah, he was
the worst.
He was a big pain in the ass. Peter the Great, not so great.
Not so great when it came to the kids.
And biblical figures like Lot and Noah. Yeah, Lot was a weirdo. Lot was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Actually. Noah, I don't know why was Noah such a bad dad? He took him on the boat, didn't he?
I think so. I think the family was part of the boat, but maybe the kids were responsible for cleaning out the stalls or something.
Yeah.
You got two of every kind of animal, and you're cleaning out the stalls. You're gonna have a lot of bitterness against your dad for putting you through this.
You can tell people are bitter with their dads.
Sometimes, yeah.
I've luckily never had that problem.
No, and why would you?
Yeah.
He left you with a whole lifetime of great stories.
Well, I always think of it as much of a bastard he was, with the thing. I do believe that alcohol really played a factor in that. I don't think that, when you start to look back when you get older,
right?
You're like, okay, he had an addiction. And the addiction was alcohol. And the addiction made him the person that he became. It didn't, I don't think he was that person. deep
He didn't
down.
start off that person. He developed into that person.
And alcoholism is a progressive disease, and it starts making you lose your mind. You start doing all these things, but it makes for great radio stories.
But unfortunately,
that's kind of like the
I agree with that. But unfortunately, not everybody who is the son or daughter of a problem drinker, an alcoholic, gets to enjoy a radio career, and that's unfortunate. A lot of people are just have regular, everyday 9-to-5 jobs and have no venue to spew out all those years of frustration and resentment.
This has turned into my therapy, when I talk about those things.
Oh, yes.
But it's funny because a lot of people share every time I share one of those crazy stories, there's always somebody out there going, oh, man, you lived the same childhood I did. Because it happens a lot more often than you think.
Sure.
If 1 in 3 people are children of alcoholics, that means there's a lot of alcoholics out there. But it also has shaped me to become the person that I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to subject my children to that kind of
And you
behavior.
haven't. You've done a pretty remarkable job of not being that guy.
Oh, look at you. All complimentary this morning.
Well, I mean, what else am I going to say? Just sit
No,
here,
but I
sit here and argue with you?
But
You're a terrible guy. Who are you kidding?
But I think you carry that through your life a lot, going, oh, my God, it was a real son of a bitch, this guy.
That's
and,
right.
But when you start to realize there was some underlying issues there, too. My grandmother was no prize either. She also had her alcohol problems.
Right.
She divorced my grandfather and then didn't tell she told my dad that his dad died when he was little. So he never knew his dad.
Right.
And then surprise, when he was 12 years old, she said, you're going to meet your father in New York City for lunch today. You talk about a mind-blowing psychological thing that you think that somebody's dead, but it was really they just divorced. And she told him she didn't exist. That'll lead you to drinking some Bud Heavies every day for the rest of your parental career.
Steve, I'm afraid we're all out of time for this week's session. I can have you back here in a week.
Well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
That's all right. Just a $25 copay, and we'll see you in your next appointment.
All right, I'll tell you next time how he lit the barn on fire.
It's 7:24 on Rock 102. 7:31 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It's brought to you by Gary Rome Hyundai. Technicians get up to a $5,000 sign-in bonus right now. Learn more at GaryRomeHyundai.com/family. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. The Springfield woman who allegedly plowed into a trooper conducting a traffic stop Tuesday morning told her employer and the police that she had been attacked at a convenience store by several women and that her car was stolen. This is according to court records associated with the arrest of 32-year-old Naisha Rodriguez of Springfield. She was arraigned in Chicopee District Court Wednesday morning after being charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, causing serious injury, intimidating a witness, leaving the scene of a crash, and falsely reporting a stolen vehicle. She pleaded not guilty to the charges and was held on $500,000 cash bail. The parking lot of the courthouse was filled with state police cruisers. Troopers packed the courtroom in support of their injured comrade. Investigators say Rodriguez was driving her work-issued Subaru in the westbound lane of the Mass Turnpike around 2:20 a.m. near Chicopee, veered into the trooper who had a tractor-trailer pulled over in the breakdown lane. A witness called 911, and colleagues of the trooper came to his aid. Troopers arrived on scene and located the injured trooper, severely wounded and bleeding extensively from his arm in front of the tractor-trailer. While Rodriguez fled the scene, state police detectives gathered video footage from around the region to track Rodriguez's movement before and after the crash. Her cover story was about the alleged attack and car theft was quickly debunked. Video footage showed Rodriguez went to Bay State Wing Hospital in Palmer around 1:15 a.m., leaving 20 minutes later. The Subaru did not appear to have any body damage. Less than an hour later, the footage told a different story. The trooper's dash cam shows him walking along the driver's side of the tractor-trailer. Once out in view, a white Subaru is seen moments later driving in the right lane before a witness who is standing on the passenger side of the cruiser is seen running towards the direction of the trooper. Footage from the city of Chicopee then showed the Subaru exiting I-90 with extensive passenger side damage, then idling in a nearby Walmart parking lot and heading towards Springfield a few minutes later.
This is a work vehicle?
It was a LabCorp, Well, I don't know. What is it, Corp or Core?
Core.
Is it Lab Core?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. It's not like the Marine Corps.
No.
It's just a Lab Corps.
No, you can leave Lab Corps. You can never leave the Marine Corps.
The vehicle was registered to Lab Corps in Holyoke. Investigators found troopers spoke with the manager there who confirmed that the Subaru was assigned to Rodriguez exclusively. He also said Rodriguez called him at 4:30 a.m. to report 5 women had cut her off at a Cumbies, pulled her from the car, and stole it.
I'm going to guess the employer didn't buy that one either.
No, probably not. And, with the threat of me being around at Cumberland Farms, ain't nobody going to try to do that kind of shenanigans.
You got to be out of your mind to think you can get away with that.
Manager said Rodriguez had been an employee for only 10 months and had already been involved in 2 motor vehicle incidents, which is like 2 motor vehicle incidents already in 10 months. You'd think you'd be not on the job.
Well, I mean, are we talking about an accident or like a speeding ticket or a parking ticket? I mean, what does that mean?
I don't know. One of which occurred on May 29th. One occurred on May 29th when she also stated she was attacked and had her vehicle stolen. She was given the Subaru Outback after the incident, the police narrative states. Rodriguez doubled down on the stolen car story by also making a report to the Springfield police. She told a responding officer a woman named Dixie attacked her, but she did not know why.
Dixie.
Yeah.
Was this also at Cumberland Farms? Because if that's the case, she might want to go to a different convenience store.
I don't know if it was at a Cumbies.
I mean, you might get away with that one time. To try to you say that my car was stolen a second time, just days apart.
Right.
It's good luck getting that one passed.
I observed multiple injuries to Miss Rodriguez. To this incident, she suffered a black eye on her left side, bleeding from her lower lip, and scratches on both sides of her arms. The Springfield police report says Rodriguez refused an ambulance. A witness told police that Rodriguez called her 6 times between midnight and 6 a.m. that morning. After witness 1 returned her call, Rodriguez stated that she just killed 2 people and hung up. Rodriguez is known to drink excessively, a trooper recounted in the report. Investigators ultimately found the Subaru on Windermere Street in Springfield. The windshield was marked with pieces of a high-visibility patrol jacket and had pieces of... Okay, I don't even want to get into that. What they found on the car.
Yeah.
But briefing reporters on Monday outside Bay State Medical Center on Tuesday, Colonel Jeffrey Noble said that of the Nass State Police said the injured trooper will have a long road to recovery, but was in good spirits. Investigators immediately observed a strong odor of alcohol emanating from Rodriguez's breath as she spoke with a very slurred voice. Rodriguez incoherently repeated over and over a story about being beat up and having her car stolen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was an empty nip bottle on the floor of her living room, which she quickly swatted away. Pay no attention to
That must be the kids.
Yeah, the kids. Well, I used to take my dad's nip bottles and use them for my He-Man dolls.
Really?
Yeah, the empty ones.
Interesting.
He-Man never drank like a Gilby's gin.
No. You're telling me that He-Man and She-Ra were not mixing old fashions in their downtime?
Well, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, yeah, I had the nip bottle of Gilby's gin.
Yeah.
And then it was full, and then Adam drank it, and then turned into He-Man.
Oh yeah.
And then the nip of Seagram's whiskey would go to the Battle Cat, would go to Cringer, and then Cringer would turn into Battle Cat. So I guess it was like real life play.
You know, it really is very much like real life. When you think about how many people have been transformed after just a couple of nips, I mean, really, I got to believe like the whole Incredible Hulk thing is probably alcohol induced. Don't get me drunk. You're not going to like me when I'm drunk.
You're not going to like it when I'm drunk.
Next thing you're tearing your shirt off and exposing your green flesh.
And you look like Lou Ferrigno.
Right. When in fact you started off more like a Bill Bixby.
Yeah. You know, Bill Bixby, I was just thinking about that movie that was filmed here in the 70s.
With Bill Bixby.
Yeah. There's like, it's a movie, God, what was the name of it? There's all these scenes of Springfield from the 1970s with Bill Bixby driving around Western Massachusetts.
Do you remember the film?
I think it's Peter Proud or something like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And he's
wasn't
driving
Peter Proud.
around. All the scenes are from Western Massachusetts,
Really?
which is kind of weird. You can see the old downtown Springfield
Boy, he was a good actor.
before MGM was built. Way before MGM was built.
And when was that Peter Pride thing? I'm trying to look for the...
I think it was 70-something.
Yeah, I'm on Wikipedia. Probably not going to find it there. But yeah, I'll tell you what. That's crazy.
A registered sex offender from Mashpee appeared in a Wareham courthouse on Tuesday. Mashpee.
Wareham?
Wareham. Damn near killed him. Where he was charged in connection with filming a woman inside of a Target fitting room. 37-year-old Gregory Matos pleaded not guilty to one count of photographing an unsuspecting nude person. Matos was placed on $50,000 cash bail in order to stay away from Target locations and have no contact with the victim. On June 9th, Wareham police learned of a suspicious person who used a cell phone to record a woman while she was in a fitting room at the Wareham Crossing Target. When police spoke with the woman, she said she saw a black phone over the fitting room stall while she was changing. Target loss prevention officers provided police with a description of the suspect using security video of him leaving the store and riding out to the parking lot on a moped. Police said, again with the mopeds.
Yeah, to me, it's not a real good getaway vehicle.
Officers canvassed the area and found a man matching the description of the suspect, later identified as Matos. Police said arrested Matos while he was fishing in the area of Main Street 1 hour he left Target. He's expected to appear at a pretrial conference. The headline is Sex Offender Went Fishing After Filming a Woman at Target in Wareham. So I was like, well, I get some time to kill before I catch some of those fish in the dressing room. Maybe I should go get some real fish out there on Main Street.
Well, they're really biting today.
Yeah.
Now, these are upskirt videos, basically, right?
It sounds like they were from the top.
From the top.
Yeah.
Interesting.
By the way, the reincarnation of Peter Proud is the name of the movie.
Yeah, but he was, I don't believe Bill Bixby was in that film.
He wasn't?
Are you thinking of actor Michael Sarrazin?
Hang on a second.
'Cause I don't believe that, to the best of my knowledge.
So it wasn't Bill Bixby.
Not Bill Bixby.
Why did I think it was Bill Bixby?
I don't know, Steve. It's a tough question. But Michael Sarrazin was a very busy actor back in 1975.
I guess there was Michael Sarrazin. I'm looking at the video. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's driving around. Are you watching it?
No, but I'm looking at the IMDb of the reincarnation of Peter Proud and Jennifer O'Neill, a young Margot Kidder.
Yeah, he's driving all. Oh, there he is going over the South End Bridge.
Mm-hmm. I'll be damned.
And he's looking at Springfield from afar.
And saying, wow, what I wouldn't do to jump in that river and swim for a while.
There he is driving down I-91, and there's the Memorial Bridge. Wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, huh? They take you back in time.
Yeah. It's like Back to the Future.
Yes, I think you're right.
But without the creepy relationship of an older man hanging out with a teenage boy.
Mm-hmm.
You really think about how Back to the Future was. That was a creepy movie.
Yeah, I mean, normally you wouldn't allow your kid to be spending time with a very old, scientist.
Because there's no explanation of why Doc Brown was hanging out with a 17-year-old boy.
Well, I mean, you
clearly had been for some time to know him so well that he was allowed to go into his workshop before school.
But of course, because it is a time-traveling film, which I thought was the worst part of the whole movie, of course they would have known each other in adulthood.
Yeah.
So ipso facto, it's not so much of a creepy thing, but based upon the time continuum, then that's then explains so much.
I like what you just said. The time traveling thing really ruined the movie. It would have been fine with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd and Crispin Glover.
If they just stayed in 1 year,
Yeah.
just one day. One day would have been enough for me.
that's like saying, The Sopranos would have been a good show if they just didn't involve the mafia.
Yeah, I remember watching Star Wars as a kid, and I said, this movie would have been really good if it weren't for all these spaceships and androids and stuff.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was just on one location.
Like Earth would have been a good place.
Yeah. What about that Forrest Gump, If he had just been a normal fella.
I mean, I was good with like the Green Mile up until all those miracles happened in jail.
Oh yeah, Mr. Jangles.
Had Tom Hanks just gone through the movie with a UTI, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, in that Citizen Kane, had the guy not been dying right off the bat, we could have told
parents had given him another toy beside a sled.
A sled.
This would have been a much different film.
I can't. It's the unbelievability of these stories that come out.
It's like the Longest Yard. I love that movie, but the football scene kind of ruined it for me.
But thank you. I'm trying to think of other movies now that I've seen in there.
I thought One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was a great film, but I didn't quite get the whole insane asylum part of it.
Yeah, had it not been in a mental hospital, that ruined it for everybody.
I was watching MASH the other day, and I thought this show would be so much better if it weren't for that whole war motif.
Well, you could still have the war motif, but the hijinks from the doctors.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I tell you what.
War is not funny.
I would have been more connected to MASH had it been set, say, like in a bar in Boston.
Yeah.
Where everyone knew their names.
That would have been a good idea.
That would have
been a concept for a show.
Much better setting.
What about, you know what? If Full Metal Jacket had revolved around a rich man taking in two young boys from the upper part of Manhattan and giving them a better life, that would have been a way better ending to that movie.
What's your major malfunction, Arnold? What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Drill Sergeant? All right, I think we've beaten this horse to death.
No, I don't. I could go on forever.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 83. This is how stupid this show is. We come in here with nothing.
Yeah, and then we
wind up doing
gold.
this. Yeah. And somehow people still listen to it.
I don't get it.
Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 83. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 78. It is 71 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
To Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:52, and the Beach Boys and God Only Knows on Rock 102.
Yeah, that Mike Love was the real brains behind that operation, wasn't he?
No, he was not.
What are you talking about? Kokomo was a great song.
No, it was not really one of their better ones.
What are you talking about?
For those of you that have not heard, and I don't know how you haven't heard already, the great Brian Wilson died yesterday at the age of 82 after suffering from dementia and some other health issues as well. My guest this week on Baxy's Musical Podcast is David Leaf, the biographer of Brian Wilson. His book, Smile, The Rise, Fall, and Resurrection of Brian Wilson. One of the most amazing stories you will ever read, ever. And if you haven't, if you're not going to read the book, then do yourself a favor and watch David Leaf's documentary, Beautiful Dreamer, the story of Smile. Amazing stuff. And, one of the things that he and I talked about, and I don't think I've ever really told the story before on the air, but what the hell. So 9 years ago, it was on Father's Day. Brian Wilson played at Tanglewood. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I'm a recently divorced guy. I might as well give myself my own Father's Day gift. So I took my kids to Tanglewood to see Brian Wilson play with Al Jardine and Al Jardine's kid, and they were going to do Pet Sounds in its entirety, which is, awesome. Just fantastic. So I got pavilion seats, got to see him, and he starts off with the first three songs from the album Smile, which is Our Prayer, G, and into Heroes and Villains. And to be quite honest with you, I cried like a baby, and I was not the only one feeling the same thing, because it wasn't just that I was seeing Brian Wilson and seeing him play, but if you understand the story behind Brian Wilson, you realize the miracle that it took for him to play those songs live at all, and that was what made that whole day special. And so it was probably the best Father's Day I ever had, was seeing Brian Wilson at Tanglewood. So.
Well, you only got to enjoy half the day. Your ex-wife was fully entitled to the other half.
Well, on that day, I got 100% of it.
Oh, okay.
That was 100% my day.
I was just trying to break the tension. I could see you cracking over there.
Well, you know what? This is one of those things where it punches you right in the it hits you in the nads.
It hits you in the nads.
It's one of the facts of
life.
That's
how they hit those high notes in the Beach Boys.
Yes, that's exactly it. So
I grew up on all that. I had all these albums that my parents and my siblings had that, and that's how I entertained myself most of the time, was listening to all these old records and all these Beach Boys albums and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And even from the early days stuff, the a cappella pop group, type of Surfing USA, Hot Little Honda and all that stuff. That was pretty cool to me, to have that experience with that kind of music, and still listening to all that stuff. I still listen to that stuff all the time.
I do too. And preparing that for that David Leaf interview that I did, I went back and was listening to Smile, and I was listening to Pet Sounds over and over again. And it's there. I mean, there's just such outstanding, brilliant records that when you take the whole story in its entirety, you realize the level of Brian Wilson's genius, and it really is far beyond surfboard and car songs from the early parts of his career. What he was developing into, it's kind of like it's amazing, and it's incredibly sad at the same time, because had he not had a breakdown after trying to record or complete Smile in 1967, there's no telling what might have been coming out of this guy musically. And that's one of the many tragedies about his life. So that was a tough loss yesterday. So I felt like I needed to say a few things, and God Only Knows is probably my favorite song of all time. So that was kind of fun to do.
Don't count out Mike Love. He really was the. By the way, we should get Al Jardine on to talk about Brian Wilson like we did years ago.
Hey, we also had Mike Love on this show. And
you talked all about Brian Wilson.
And I talked about Brian also. And I would do it again. If Mike Love were on the phone right now, I would ask nothing but Brian questions and ask nothing about what's going on in Mike Love's life.
Do you think Mike Love's using the jitterbug now? The big phone that
with
you
the
buy
big
at
buttons?
Walgreens? Yeah.
I don't. All I know is he has his lawyer on speed dial and will file a lawsuit at will.
He's just showing a picture of a surfer and an American flag. That's his emojis that he uses on the jitterbug.
Mike Love is the kind of guy that would sue Brian Wilson for dying. That's the kind of person that Mike Wilson is.
I've had it up to here with this guy and his antics.
Exactly.
How could he take away the spotlight from me?
It's 7:58 at Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, your grilling destination. Weber, Big Green Egg, Uni Pizza Ovens, and Traeger wood-fired grills.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, if I didn't die every time one of my parents told me that there were starving children in Ethiopia, I'd have enough money to feed an entire village of starving children in Ethiopia. If I believed my parents every time they'd say they're going to give me something to really cry about, I'd be crying all the time. And don't get me started on how many times they threatened to call Santa Claus because I was acting up. The truth is, none of those things wound up happening, and with all those empty threats and false promises, it occurred to me that my parents might have been full of it. This is the same family conundrum facing Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins this week, as he tried to defend a web of deceit and lies that were allegedly told to him by his own father. Last week, you may recall the quote from Hunter Dobbins that claimed he would rather retire than pitch for the New York Yankees. Now, I can respect that sort of position. However, Dobbins doubled down on that story and claimed that his father, Lloyd Dobbins, had been drafted by the Yankees not once, but twice before being traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Also claiming his father was good friends with former Yankee pitcher Andy Pettitte. There's just one small problem here. Apparently, none of it is true. In fact, there's absolutely no record of Lloyd Dobbins ever being drafted by the Yankees. He did apparently pitch for Arizona for 2 unspectacular seasons, but after that, the story is total crap. In defending his father's story, Hunter told reporters, quote, "I don't go fact-checking my father or anything like that." Of course you don't, kid. Who does? I'm sure my father told me all kinds of things that weren't true. Things like, "You're never going to graduate high school with grades like this." Or the one where he told me he used to walk 6 miles to school in the snow, when I knew for a fact he took the bus. On the other hand, if my father had been drafted by the Yankees, I wouldn't be telling anybody about that information either. Even if it was true, because the last thing I'd want to do is bring more shame to my family. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Take Dad power tool shopping at Rocky's. Get Dad a $50 Rocky's gift card. It comes with a free $10 Rocky's Ace gift card for you. A little side deal for your Ace Rewards members. You are a member, aren't you? Well, you better be. That way you can nab this 50 plus 10 deal at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:11 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a nice day today. Sunny and a high of 83. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 78, and then rain all weekend long. And all next week.
Great. Terrific.
I'm just looking at the forecast, and it's like rain, all the way up until next Thursday.
Well, I believe we're close to a red flag warning anyway, aren't we? I mean, we're so dry and
it's
drought-filled.
It's pretty crazy how high the river is. Did you see the Connecticut River the other day? It was like all those brown trout from Bondi's Island floating out in the water out there.
I can't help but think, man, this would be a great time to go jumping in that river.
I had to drive through downtown Holyoke yesterday.
Yeah.
And the smell from the sewage treatment plant.
Well,
disgusting.
Again, that thing is working overtime.
I know, but it's like I can't even imagine having to live in a place like that near something, even a Bondi's Island. You know, how many mornings have I driven down through downtown? And that's the first thing you smell as soon as you drive into downtown Springfield.
I think you adapt to your environment. Like, for example, for like many, many years, like all the people that live around this building kept hearing like the radio station on their phones and like on other electronic devices that were turned off, but because of the signals and everything, there were filters you could buy for that to prevent that thing. And then that's how you survived it. If you're living next to like a wastewater treatment facility, I gotta believe there's like Glade fresh air fresheners in every room in your house.
Oh, absolutely.
You got air fresheners everywhere. You got the Crown air freshener in your car. You got a bunch of those little pine tree air fresheners.
But is it one of those things that you get used to living near?
You do. Like in your town, for example. And we've talked about this before. We both know a woman whose house is like 20 feet from the train tracks.
I believe part of her driveway is the train tracks.
It is the train tracks. Yeah. And when I asked her, I said, how often does the train go by? A couple times a day. I'm like, do you find that to be an annoying reality of your living here? She says, no, you just kind of get used to it. As hard as it is to imagine that you could get used to a train and the lights of a train going towards your house every single day, I think you do adapt.
Honestly, I can see that because having worked on the choo-choos for many years, in the beginning when I first started working there, you could hear everything.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you're like, oh, I didn't even know that train showed up. There it is.
You just forget about it.
Because it makes, even when it's going very slow and backing down and the engine's far away, you can still hear the thing squeaking and creaking as it comes in. And of course, I had a very lack of interest of working there. I think maybe that was part of the problem of why I didn't notice it.
Much of your work day was you zoning out.
Day in, day out, it was the same damn thing over and over and over again. It was so boring. Boring. Today is National Jerky Day.
It's Jerky Day?
Yeah. Celebrating all things jerky. National Jerky Day is celebrated on June 12th. Was a cause for celebration for meat lovers all over.
Wow.
Did you know you can do that in your air fryer? Make jerky?
Sure you can. You can do it in your oven, too, if you're doing it right.
Yeah, but I would think the air fryer would probably be a little bit easier.
It's faster. Mm-hmm. It's certainly faster. You just got to make sure you're not burning it.
I like that stuff out in Westfield, the Whip City.
Whip City?
The
Yeah,
Whip City
good.
one, and now my new favorite is the Autumn Mist Farm one, because I don't like it dried out.
Yeah.
Like so dried out.
And those are cut pretty thin, too. They're easier to...
What's that crap they sell in the gas station?
With the Jack Links. Oh, God. That is like...
It's not even good. But yet it's a popular... It sells well.
Because people know that jerky is actually a healthier snack than a lot of the other options.
Yeah.
But those Jack Links, man, I mean, it's like trying to eat a shoe.
Yeah.
You'll be chewing on that thing like forever. Like when you give a dog like one of them rawhide bones and he's chewing on it for like weeks, that's how long it takes to eat a Jack Link.
I mean, the problem with making a jerky is you got to pound it out real thin.
Yeah, you got to pound that meat down.
I have a meat slicer though. I could probably do it with the meat slicer.
Really?
Make it. Yeah. We should do a jerky experiment. I mean, we've been working with a bunch of them for years.
Yeah, that's the damn truth.
What do you have in your kitchen that is nostalgic? Do you still have nostalgic things that you use?
Not really. I mean, most of the stuff that I had that was nostalgic didn't make the trip over. You know what I mean?
There's this website, BuzzFeed, that you've probably heard of before. They have 50 things literally everyone used to have inside their kitchen 30 years ago that no one has anymore.
Okay.
Supposedly. But I've seen these. It's the kitchen table that looked like an old diner-style table with the metal chairs. With the plastic vinyl on them.
Sure.
They're showing a yellow one here. I remember those.
I remember those too.
I don't have anything like that.
I didn't have one. My parents didn't have one.
Or that kitchen table that was the wooden kitchen table.
Yes.
With the wooden chairs on it. Did you have those?
Well, it would depend because, I mean, we got a wood table now, but it's not like one of the old-fashioned ones.
A pair of saloon doors for absolutely no reason at all. I remember people had those in their house.
I remember those, too.
Yeah.
I also remember the decorative giant spoon and fork that you would put on your wall. I never understood that.
Well, it's to indicate you were in the kitchen.
I
couldn't tell from the dishwasher,
was the stove not enough of a dead giveaway?
Or the refrigerator.
If I tried to eat something with that big giant spoon, my mom would have thrown a shoe at me.
Here's the fridge that the fridge that refused to die. We had one. It was green. It was like green-colored fridge. And now they say appliances usually break within 2 to 5 years of purchasing them now.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is why I strongly suggest you go to Kluwett's, Mechanic Street in Ware, Center Street in Ludlow.
Yeah, but it's not Kluwett's fault that these things. It's just all the manufacturers.
Well, that's why they got service technicians for most major brands.
What else? The bowl that basically did everything. You got that mixing bowl.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I got vintage Tupperware they're talking about too.
But I don't have an emotional attachment to any of those things.
The corn cob holders that looked like corn cobs.
But those are convenience, though. Otherwise, you burn your hands with those hot corn cobs.
Do you still use them?
No.
Yeah. I have. You know what I got from the Pampered Chef? I got suckered into that.
What?
Was the butterer? It's like a thing you put the butter in, and then you shove the butter stick down the hole, and it roll it across the corn cob.
Mm-hmm.
Very convenient. A set of food coloring sitting in your pantry for about 2 decades. The one that looked like the little pointy tops to them, the McCormick's.
Yeah, no, I don't buy food coloring.
A set of plastic tools to make homemade popsicles. Remember those?
I do. Actually, we have some of those.
Yeah, you might have some.
We do.
The electric carving knife.
So, I have one. It actually carves very, very well. Mm-hmm. You can carve very thinly with that thing.
I have one of these. The stool. Remember the stool? It was like a step stool that's metal.
Yep.
I have this exact one that they're showing here. It's the yellow one and you fold out the steps on the bottom.
Sure.
You made the step stool. Those are pretty cool. Portable dishwasher. We never had one of those.
No, not portable.
The blender.
I got a blender.
The Osterizer blender.
I don't have that one. I got it's a Cuisinart blender.
Ah.
Thing's a beast.
The old rival crock pot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
With the brown dish inside. An entire shelf built literally just for a phone book. Nobody has those anymore.
Nobody has wall-hanging spice racks anymore either. That seemed to kind of go away.
A set of Revereware cookware that you probably got as a Christmas or wedding gift. Those are the old metal ones with the funky tops to them.
Oh, yeah.
A phone. Nobody has a phone in their kitchen anymore.
Not anymore.
And a list of every important phone number that was probably yellowing with age.
Yeah, no. I mean, who has that? Who remembers a phone number?
I remember a lot of phone numbers. I know your phone number.
You do?
I do.
What is it?
I'm not going to say it on the air, but I know
What's
your
the
phone
first three digits?
351.
No, it's 413. You don't know anything, do you?
I'm talking about the extension.
I was talking about something
Yeah.
far less personal,
You don't
like
remember,
an area code.
You don't know my phone number, do you? Offhand, without looking at it in the.
I honestly I don't. The only number that I know is my own and my wife's because they're so close. They're so similar. But I have to think. I have no working understanding of numbers to begin with. So don't be offended by it.
I think that's one of my hidden talents. I remember phone numbers still. I still if somebody told me a phone number, I can still remember it.
I remember my phone number as a kid, but that's it. I don't. You asked me what my mom's phone number is, I couldn't tell you. After you have dad's, I couldn't tell you.
Barry still got the corn cob holders.
Of course he does.
Yeah,
he probably eats everything with those corn cob holders: hot dogs, sandwiches, everything.
You know what? You just put a weird image in my head of Barry eating like a kielbasa off a corn cob holders.
Tell me,
rubbing butter all over the top of it.
Tell me if there's any guy alive that would do it. It wouldn't be Barry. Of course he would.
Well, he likes the old
yes
thing. What about the old deep fryer? Did you have one of those? The ones it was like a desktop.
I did have a deep fryer.
Yeah.
Years ago.
A big glob of candy that's been stuck together for decades.
No, that didn't.
That's like an old lady thing. They forget about the candy in the. In the.
Actually, I don't know if it's an age thing, but I don't see people under the age of 50 with like a lot of candy dishes around their house.
No, nobody really.
Like my grandmother always had like those little pink mints like on a table.
Diner mints, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Those after dinner mints.
You can buy those at Restaurant Depot,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And my stepmother always has these dishes out where there's always candy or nuts like around the house. So I love going over there because I'll rip it through a whole thing of cashews while I'm just chewing the fat with my folks.
What about the old salt and pepper shakers that were white plastic that had the S and the P on each one?
Yes.
I remember those very well.
I do too.
Yeah. Where's the salt, Dad? In the salt locker under S.
Who has a salt locker?
We had a locker for everything. That was his answer. Where is this?
Yeah, right.
Where's the garlic? In the garlic locker under G. I had a very disturbing childhood.
So sad I never got to meet the man.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? You can live vicariously through me.
That's okay. It's like you bring him to life.
Yeah, well, it's that time of year. It's that Father's Day thing that just brings back all those bad memories.
It's 8:24 on Rock 102. It's 8:27 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Liam Neeson has the full forecast for you.
Tomorrow on the show, just want to let everybody know and give you a little bit of a heads up. It will be an open line Friday. I'm not sure if we're doing it once or twice, but we'll probably do it at least once. And I'm pretty sure that if we do it, we're going to do it the same way we've done it for the last couple of weeks. You have 30 seconds to get your act together, get your point out there, and then we move on.
They always find a way to ruin every rule anyway, though. Even with the 30-second thing, it was kind of getting wonky last week.
Yeah, but those who really put a little bit of time and effort into it really made the most of that 30 seconds, I think.
Preparation is the key here.
It's totally key. Of course, if you're bringing up a really good point and we find you to be interesting, we may keep you on for like 45 seconds, maybe a minute. But you really have to be outdoing yourself.
Yeah, you have to be interesting.
And that's rare. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's all brought to you by Linton Septic. That's coming up tomorrow here on the Bax and Nagle radio program.
Unless you're, maybe you have a handicap or something, we'll let you go on for a little bit.
Don't tell them that.
Well,
because they're going to be faking. They're going to be faking injuries.
But Dale and the brain-dead truck driver guy,
okay, but
Hawkman, they have a little bit of an issue getting things out in a timely fashion, but that's not their fault.
It's not their fault, but I don't want to encourage that kind of behavior from anybody because you know how some of these people will take advantage of that, and I don't want that to happen because it's an insult to those people that are dealing with other issues, I think.
Well, because we don't have time for them. That's the problem.
We barely have enough time for us.
Well, there you go.
Because we got news next to Rock 102. 8:32 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It's brought to you by Health New England. They're here with you every step of the way. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. The suspect accused of hitting a Mass State Trooper in Chicopee appeared before a judge on Wednesday. 33-year-old Nyesha Rodriguez was arraigned on several charges, including operating under the influence of alcohol, leaving the scene of a serious bodily injury, falsely reporting a stolen vehicle, and witness intimidation. Just before 2:30 a.m. on Tuesday, an unidentified state trooper was conducting a traffic stop with a tractor-trailer on the westbound side of the Mass Pike near exit 51 in Chicopee when a car came by and hit him without stopping. Officers later arrested a suspect, now identified as Rodriguez. According to court documents obtained by Western Mass News, investigators were able to get a license plate number of the Subaru that Rodriguez was allegedly driving after watching dash cam footage of the moment the trooper was hit. The Chicopee Police Department was able to locate the Subaru via city cameras. The vehicle was found to be owned by LabCorp in Holyoke. Investigators spoke with a manager who said the car was assigned to Rodriguez. Rodriguez's manager told investigators she contacted them around 4:30 a.m. and claimed her car was stolen near the Cumbies by Bay State Medical Center, where she was cut off and pulled out of the vehicle. According to her manager, she has worked at LabCorp for 10 months and has already been involved in 2 other motor vehicle incidents, one of which happened in May, where she also stated she was attacked and her car was stolen.
Now I'm just going to go on. Excuse me. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that if she's allowed to keep her job, she probably won't be given another LabCorp vehicle.
Probably not.
Since now this would be her third incident involving a LabCorp vehicle in 10 months.
Around 5:20 a.m. Tuesday, investigators found the Subaru on Windermere Street in Springfield with extensive damage. And I won't tell you what they found on the car because it's
you don't need to know.
The police report also revealed that Rodriguez allegedly called a witness and said she had just killed 2 people and then hung up. Phone records allegedly corroborate this. Using phone tracking technology, they were able to connect Rodriguez and her phone to corresponding locations throughout that morning, which ultimately led her to her arrest. This is like the bad Karen Reed.
Karen Reed actually made up better excuses.
Several different excuses.
Different ones, but better, more believable. I mean, it'd be one thing to have like your employer vehicle stolen once, but then to say a roving band of car thieves ripped your car off while you were at a Cumberland Farms. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, just shame on somebody else.
Would be pretty coincidental to have your car stolen twice within a few weeks.
And then to try to convince everybody that it was a roving band of women that stole that. It was a Subaru, was it?
Yeah.
They stole that Subaru right under your nose while you were getting scratchies at the Cumbies. Come on. I'm not buying that.
Oh, I don't know. I could see a bunch of chicks going after a Subaru.
I know. I mean, I can understand it. You know, like they just got done with their softball game or field hockey. But for the most part, they're not going to steal a car together.
And we're taking this Indigo Girl CD with us.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. An Amherst man was. I'm glad you said it first. An Amherst man was
What?
arrested.
I'm not suggesting anything. And just making
hypotheticals.
hypotheticals. That's it.
An Amherst man was arrested this week after threatening a local grocery store and a police officer who responded to a mass shooting back in 2023. On Monday, a judge ordered that Luke Brissy of Amherst was to be detained and is now being charged with communicating a threat in interstate commerce. Back on April 5th, police say Luke Brissy of Amherst sent threatening messages via Instagram to an officer within the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. In the messages, he stated that he would bomb or even shoot the Nashville officer responding to the 2023 mass shooting at the Covenant Elementary School, which left 3 adults and 3 students dead. In his message to the officer, who was identified as MC in court documents, Brissy describes the shooter of the Covenant School massacre as his spiritual mother. I'm guessing this man may have some mental issues going on.
Boy,
I'm just throwing it out there.
Really throwing out some snap judgments there, aren't you, Steve?
He also told the officer he would bomb an FBI office and harm another police officer in Tennessee. He also stated he intended to carry out a mass stabbing at a Big Y grocery store in Massachusetts.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. That's more Aldi's behavior.
It's not even Aldi's behavior.
Following the incident, the FBI was eventually able to locate Brissy at his house in Amherst. There, Brissy told agents he intended to bomb the FBI Boston field office and also was going to carry out the mass stabbing at the nearby Big Y near his house. Due to his statements made during the interview with the FBI agents, he was involuntarily committed for a mental health evaluation.
Probably a good idea.
I wonder what gave it away.
Maybe the randomness of his threats.
No one is hurt after a tree fell on a passing car Wednesday night in West River Street in Orange. When the Western Mass News crew arrived around 4:30, they could see lots of damage to that car. The tree didn't just fall on the car, it took down some power lines too. Officials say another tree, which hadn't fully fallen down yet, compromised the nearby utility poles. The street was closed while crews worked to remove the trees and secure the area. And Western Mass News is working to learn that his street has since been reopened. I don't know. They had more details about the lady hitting the trooper, and 22 didn't.
In fact, they didn't even have her name.
But here they were on the scene and don't have any update of what happened to a car that was hit yesterday afternoon.
Now, if Western Mass News doesn't hear a tree fall in Orange,
did it even happen?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
What, were you thinking the same thing?
It's like we're like a simpatico.
Simpatico.
Yes. Like we're thinking of the same mind, of the same strand. If Western Mass News didn't hear it.
Did it even happen?
Exactly my point.
Western Mass News is getting answers after multiple West Springfield residents reached out to the newsroom raising concerns over a homeless encampment set up at Lagaditch Park and the Connecticut Riverfront Walkway. They're learning more after speaking with officials about the issue. West Springfield Mayor Will Reichelt said the city is doing what they can to assist people who are without shelter. What we really want to do is work with them to get the resources they need. Several West Springfield residents voicing their concern over a homeless encampment located inside the park in Connecticut River Walkway. Where is that? Lagaditch Park.
I don't even know. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
I've never heard of it either. Let's see where that is. That is... Oh, it's right near the Pride Station on Route 5 near the car dealerships. I didn't even know there was a park back there.
On that side of the street? On the Pride side?
It looks like the entrance is right next to the Pride.
Where the hell is that?
Where the inner Elm Street comes in and comes into play there.
Oh.
And Route 5.
I didn't realize there was anything going on over there.
Some residents said that because of the encampment, they're scared to go near that area. I've seen homeless people there, and the homeless people have more aggressive. And as a woman, I feel like I'm safe walking down there, even with my dogs and my husband. Which I guess not safe. He said that they also spoke with the mayor, and the mayor said that individuals are no longer occupying the park or walkway, and the city is trying to connect them with social services. It's a delicate situation, and understandably, we don't want them down the Riverwalk in public areas or on public land, but trying to find them shelter and housing has been difficult. What is a day at homeless camp like? You start the morning out with a nice campfire and how to learn how to dry socks.
Probably some arts and crafts projects that they do during the day.
Breakfast and fire safety.
Maybe a softball game halfway through the day.
A recycling and foraging hike early morning. Maybe some group therapy in the crap talking circle.
I gotta believe they're making s'mores around the campfire.
I don't know if they're going to get this. What about a lunch swap? I'll give you this quarter can of Chef Boyardee for your 3 Vienna sausages you have in that can.
What are you making? Oh, I'm making a basket out of these reeds. What are you making? Oh, I'm making a bottle out of this empty salad dressing bottle.
What about the advanced panhandling techniques?
You know what? That would be a good thing to know.
I mean, there's got to be a calligraphy class where they do the God bless.
Yeah, it's like a
home in need.
Like it's a paint and sip type of thing.
Maybe some spa time.
Well, you know what? They could all use that.
Dumpster perfume sampling. Surprise tent eviction drill.
You can never be too prepared.
And then campfire confessions at nighttime.
Again.
What about music hour? Do they have music hour at the homeless camp?
Probably like an a cappella type of sing-along.
An a cappella.
Well, they probably don't have a place to have their musical instruments. You don't see too many homeless guys, walking up and down Rudale Street with a tuba.
No, with a harmonica. Somebody's got to have a harmonica.
Yeah, but no one's going up there with like a
singing.
trombone.
You don't think they get together and sing Piano Man?
With no piano?
Yeah. Well, with a harmonica. You can do it with a harmonica.
Not the same.
Yeah. Your Pioneer Valley forecast. This day needs to end soon.
I was thinking the same thing around 6:45.
I was thinking the same thing when at 5:35. It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 83. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 78. It is 75 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rev up your...
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It's 8:50 in the Black Crows of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Going to be a nice day with a high of 83. Tomorrow, another nice day with a high of 78. It's 75 right now in downtown Springfield. We'll enjoy it because it's going to rain all weekend.
Yeah, it is going to rain. Yeah. The big summer kickoff party is happening on Saturday, June 21st at Vantage Valley in Ludlow. Celebrate the start of summer to help raise money for Rick's Place. We'll be talking to some folks from there next week. Rick's Place provides free support for grieving children, teens, and families after the loss of a loved one, and we want to continue to help them out and do the work that they do. Live music from Jack and his guitar, loads of great activities. Boomer from the Thunderbirds will be there. Be face painting, magicians, you name it. All kinds of stuff. To buy tickets, you go to rock102.com, just $10.21 plus a small ticketing fee. Every penny going directly to Rick's Place. Is Steve Nagle's summer kickoff. June 21st, noon to 3, Vantage Valley in Ludlow. Brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements, Aquapump, Aura Credit Union, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock. Yeah,
I'm looking at this Facebook page somebody suggested us to go to.
And I'm not
it's gone. I think it's gone.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if you've driven through the Rotary in East Longmeadow in the last 24, 48 hours or so.
I don't think I have. Yeah.
We talked about this the other day. The big white plantation man from Mutual Ford and the Plantation Inn is now permanently affixed in front of the East Village Tavern.
Oh, well, very nice.
But no head.
You know, I find it kind of odd that East Longmeadow will not approve a drive-through for a restaurant, but they will have a monstrous statue being put out right in the middle, like that doesn't really fit the rest of the motif of the town.
Like there's no drive-through at the Dunkin', even though there should be. Unless you're a bank, you can't drive through anything. No drive-through at the CVS.
Yeah.
But a 25-foot statue of a big giant white man? That's perfectly fine.
I wonder where that ordinance came from. Was that like we don't want loudspeakers Because I can see. I mean, I've seen like the Dairy Queen in Chicopee. I always wondered about that because there's houses right behind that.
Sure.
And now it's called Dairy King, which is weird. What happened to the Queen? Something happened.
Some sort of coup d'etat.
Something happened in the hierarchy there. But it's taken over now and it is now a Dairy King, I believe. But the houses that were right behind there, and like the way it was a weird, oddly shaped drive-through because of the small area of the parking lot. But I remember like the speaker's like loud and you can hear that at like the houses. Is that one of those things like the railroad thing we were talking about? Like you wouldn't notice it?
I don't think that's the case in East Long Meadow because you can't go 15 feet without seeing a bank.
Right.
And I got to believe there is a speaker in the drive-through window.
But I don't think the bank.
How would you like that in 20s or larger bills? I mean, you'd probably be hearing that all over town.
I don't think the bank speakers are as loud or as lengthy as an interaction, and they're closed by 5 o'clock for the most part. So it's not like you have that at nighttime where a fast food restaurant would be.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it would be nice to have a drive-through in town.
But that's probably why they don't have a McDonald's here and all that stuff. Because what good would a restaurant like that do in this town if you weren't able to have the drive-through feature, which is
it's strange. I mean, personally, I'm thrilled that the statue is going to be in East Long Meadow. I'm glad it's going to have a permanent home. I love that damn thing. I think it's an iconic Western Mass thing. I mean, it's like one of those iconic things that we've got, and it's going to be right here in East Long Meadow. All for it. But it is weird that if I owned a business in East Long Meadow and I wanted to put a sign by the street to let everyone know, hey, my business is right here.
Yeah.
I'd have a hell of a time getting that through in town. Or if I had a massage parlor here in town and I just happen to have a bunch of my family living in the basement, they would have a problem with that here in East Long Meadow.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would.
We should have that. Should be like a parking lot now for all of you should get the parrot from Dave's or the magic lantern sign and just put it all in one spot, like a Western Mass sign museum.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, I know Joe Didi over at Malicious Farms. He's got all those. He's got all the other ice cream shops that have closed. He's got the signs like in his lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time another one busts up, he gets the other sign. That's how we came to fruition with the whole the Kenny Rogers Roasters sign.
Oh, he got that?
He alerted me that there was a guy selling that. He got one and I got one.
Wow.
We got a pair of them.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. But he should call that the Nom Nom lot. Because he eats up all the other ice cream shops.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting.
But that's what I'm saying. That's some. You have a little lot down here with the Plantation Man.
Yeah. Well,
the parrot from Dave's, and a magic lantern sign.
How awesome would that be?
What else could you put up there?
Oh, I don't know. That the big sign of the Mardi Gras that's been taken down.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have that in their house?
Or you have that awning from the Geraldines that the guy was giving away on Facebook. Well, he wasn't giving it away. He was selling it on Facebook Marketplace. I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in the misspelled Louange sign.
Right,
Lounge.
the Longue.
Longue.
Right. Whatever. Yeah, right. That would have been worth having.
I still never got the story on why that happened. And why was it on the side of the building like that?
I have no idea. But apparently, the Plantation Man's head will be installed in time for the 4th of July and the festival. So, big celebrations coming to East Long Meadow.
I wonder if the misspelled lounge on the side of Geraldine's was to reflect the type of people that would be inside of a Geraldine's. I think it says lounge.
Well, people going in and out of there could barely do the alphabet correctly during a traffic stop. Mm-hmm. So what makes you think that they will spell lounge correctly?
I have a bloody knuckle spritzer from dragging them across the street.
Luella, they're talking about a favorite place.
Now,
I got a lot of action at Geraldine's.
now get your packet of Sweet and Lows out of your purse. We're gonna make this a diet drink.
Otherwise, it goes right to my thighs.
Yeah.
It's 8:58 at Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 9:09, and the Georgia Satellites of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Sunny today with a high of 83. It is 75 in downtown Springfield. Are you ready for some fun facts back?
Yes!
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads. The backs of life.
The backs of
The
life.
backs of life.
All right, number one.
Number one.
There's more hydrogen in a gallon of gasoline than in a gallon of liquid hydrogen.
Really?
Same with my ex-wife. Looked clean, said she was low maintenance, but man, she was packing enough volatile gas to blow a pipe and melt my credit score.
That's a lot of octane.
Yes, it is. Number two.
Number two.
Thriller was originally called Starlight. That explains the original dance. It's just Michael in sequins stroking an invisible disco shaft under the moonlight while whispering, "Give me that starlight in my backdoor portal." Why has this become a Kim Kardashian?
I don't know.
Number three. The Wright brothers' first flight was reported in a beekeeping magazine. Because nothing says aviation history like two dudes straddling wood, getting lifted by hot air, and buzzing louder than my neighbor's vibrator on Queen Bee mode. Number four. Jackie Chan is a classically trained opera singer with over 20 albums.
Huh.
He can break your jaw with a teacup, then whisper a high C into your hole so tender it turns your colon into a karaoke bar. I keep laughing every time. He can whisper a high C into your hole so tender it turns your colon into a karaoke bar.
No, I got it.
Mingle.
Yeah. Number five.
Number five. Paula Abdul's debut, whatever, took 64 weeks to hit number one, which is nothing. It took me 64 weeks to convince people that I was actually good for this job. Opposites attracted onto their faces and into the headboard, and now I'm in Milwaukee. That's all you got for your fun fact, man.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads. The backs of life.
The backs of life.
The backs of life.
It's Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
The Rock